This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by Ocean City Department of Tourism.
Well, it's hard to imagine a trip to Ocean City without a trip down the boardwalk. The shops, the food, the games, the rides. The boardwalk experience is one that makes a lifetime of memories. And those memories were first made more than 120 years ago. Spanning 2¼ miles, the Ocean City Boardwalk has delighted generations of visitors who want to shop, eat, or just have fun. But in the beginning, the board served a more practical purpose.
The Sinapatuxet Beach Corporation was the company that pretty much founded Ocean City, and they built a boardwalk in 1892. Before that, some of the local hotel owners, for their guests, they put down boards because the streets were made of sand too, so it wasn't easy to navigate. So they put boards down that they would bring in during the high tides or whatever. But the first official boardwalk was 1892.
But it didn't take long for the promenade to start its first expansion. In 1900, Daniel and Margaret Trimper built a resort modeled on Great Britain's Windsor Castle, with 2 hotels, a theater, and an amusement park.
So part of the boardwalk was owned by the Trimper family at that time.
Today, it's Trimper's Rides and Amusement. The Atlantic Hotel became another fixture early on. You can see its porch to the left. In 1925, fire destroyed the hotel along with 3 blocks of the boardwalk. But with reconstruction came expansion.
Over the years, it expanded as the town expanded. It went up to 9th Street for a while, about that area. Later on, it expanded to 15th Street, and then I would say by about 1960s, it made it all the way to 27th Street.
The 1925 fire was not the first force of nature to challenge the boardwalk.
Of course, the 1933 storm tore up a lot of the boardwalk and a lot of Trimper's rides.
The storm also cut what is now the Ocean City Inlet, providing a pathway to the Atlantic Ocean for fishermen. In 1991, the town built a massive seawall to protect the parts of the boardwalk where the beach is narrower. Since then, storm damage has been minimal. Getting up and down the boardwalk has changed through the years. Early on, you could even drive on the boards or just ride.
It's our boardwalk rolling chair, and years ago they used to rent these. A couple businesses would rent them, and they had young men usually that would push them. That was their summer job, to push them up and down the boardwalk. Nowadays you might see surreys going up and down the boardwalk with large groups of families, but these were generally for 1 or 2 people, and it could be a very romantic ride. I've had someone tell me that years ago they remembered their beau picking them up at the hotel they were staying in. They rode up and down the boardwalk, and he might even propose to her in the rolling chair. But they used these here in Ocean City up until about the 1940s.
This picture from 1936 shows the chairs being used during a pageant parade. In the late 1960s, visitors started boarding the boardwalk train, navigating narrow passageways through some parts of the boards.
It was in the year 2000 they widened the boardwalk and built a special lane for the train.
Today, the Ocean City Boardwalk is many things to many people.
Usually early in the morning you get the people that are walking or bike riding, or later on walking their dogs when dogs are allowed. And in the afternoon when the shops start opening up, some people come for the shops because they just love the different things they can get in the shops. And then there's always the food. Once it gets towards lunchtime, there's all kinds of food. Some people just like to play the games, go to the arcades. Other people just enjoy the serenity of sitting out on the bench there and watching the inlet, watching the boats come through the inlets.
Many of the original businesses remain. But one thing the town prides itself on is what the boardwalk provides for families.
It's always been for families. I can't imagine coming to Ocean City with a family and not experiencing the boardwalk with the rides.
At one point, portions of the boards were replaced by cement, but it didn't stay that way.
They asked the public, what they wanted, and the public very emphatically said they wanted to go back to boards.
A tradition that began more than a century ago and will likely remain for centuries to come. The Ocean City Boardwalk will also go down in history as one of the best. The Travel Channel called it one of the nation's best boardwalks, and USA Today ranked it among the greatest American boardwalks. Up next on this special edition of Delmarva Life, the Ocean City Sunfest Edition 2013, this town is rich in history, and much of it is showcased inside the Life Saving Station Museum right on the boardwalk. But this building wasn't always here, how a group of citizens made it possible, and some of the amazing history you'll find inside. And later, of the many places to visit here in Ocean City, Dolly's has become a destination in its own right. Brian takes us inside and shows us how they make what they're most famous for, taffy. And wait until you see how it all happens. Delmarva Life, the Ocean City Sunfest edition, will be right back.